Okay, just may I invite you on the stage to take, please. Thank you. You can play musical chair to find out, please. Nice. Thank you. Thank you for the mic, sir. Okay, good morning, everyone. We are going to start the day 2, track 2, and be here in the Kilimaki room at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in the beautiful city of Tanzania. On behalf of the team ARE and organizers and all the those supporting the of EAIF, I have the warm pleasure to welcome you all to our session today. So today we are going to talk the thematic session, de-risking investment in DRE through digitalization. My name is Deepak Mohapatra, and I am the Senior Officer, Policy and Business Development at ARE, and to be the moderator of the show today. So without further ado, let me start with the agenda of today. It will start with the quick interventions from our dear panelists over here. We have Mr. Demetriou, Senior Specialist Clean Energy from Southport, Ms. Aarti Mahajan, Innovation from EnAccess Foundation, and then we have Ms. Adrienne Pierce, Chief Commercial Officer, News on Road, and lastly we have Mr. Remco from Stappershoef, Director of Partnerships, Mobile Power. I welcome you all, dear panelists. Thank you for being with us. Do a quick introduction to ARE. The Alliance for Rural Electrification is an international and independent business association mandated to support the private sector with market ambitions, along with the public sector with their partnerships and so on, to create a sustainable, decentralized, renewable energy sector. In doing so, we try to create income generation opportunities and power equitable green economies. As we are speaking today, we are the #1 global decentralized renewable energy association, uniting close to 200 members from all across the globe, or across more than 55 countries even, and over 3 major continents where energy is an issue. In terms of systems, we focus on as small standalone systems ranging through nanogrids, picogrids, microgrids, minigrids, and also covering cross-integrated sectors such as agriculture, mining, and so on and so forth. In terms of the unique association is focusing on kind of technologies that are available in the energy value chain, starting with bioenergy, hydro, wind, power components, energy storage, solar, of course, and also slowly looking to nitrogen. What I am speaking about is depicted on this world map. As you can see, the 3 major continents where we are predominantly active, being the major continent for energy access is the one, and then Asia Pacific, and followed by that in Latin America. In terms of services, ARE supports its members across 3 service lines, starting with market intelligence and communications and marketing support. Those of you who are interested to learn more about it can contact me or my colleague here or at our exhibition booth, and we will be happy to assist. Moving on to the topic of the day, which is the de-risking investments in the decentralized renewable energy through digitalization. Now, digitalization can be defined as the adoption of digital technologies in order to improve the efficiency and data transparency in the applications where it is being used. In the energy sector, digitalization provides for the integration of these renewables in a way to ensure that it can be run reliably, securely, and most importantly, in an efficient way. By utilizing information technology, new data streams, and communication networks, and digitalization can enable new and markets, improve power system operation, drive some call. essentially this scheme of pictures, if we see that with the increase of population and the more and more systems in day-to-day life, put a lot of pressure on the energy infrastructure. What is need of the hour is that we improve our systems, we innovate, and we add more digital applications to this that can be cater to all the needs and the growing, let's say, requirement of the energy in our day-to-day lives. Innovative technologies are already leading the way towards tomorrow's sustainable energy system and preparing the ground for safe and secure investment in the DRE sector. So basically, de-risking the sector so that investors' confidence can be improved and they will not be taking a step back before think about as renewable energy, because it's only less than 8 years that we have now to achieve our sustainable development goals. Therefore, we need to start acting fast and acting smart, and in doing so, create the united front that we are creating. Today, we have 4 such renowned organizations from the sector, starting with the DRE initiative by Salzburg, which is also, by the way, one of the supporters of the event. Then we have EnAccess Foundation, which is a very valued member of ARE. Then we have a valued member of ARE, and then we have Mobile Power, which is a potential valued member of ARE. So we're looking forward to having you as well. Then moving on, I would also like to highlight very quickly cooperation, a newfound cooperation between ARE and the European Space Agency. With this cooperation, we are going one step forward to support and encourage and also ensure that digitalization can be integrated in different applications by the use of space technologies. One of the key mandates or offers by the European Agency is to support the European companies to develop sustainable services using any space assets and integrating them into that. The unique solutions and unique ideas will also be offering business and support to help create. Therefore, here is a call to action that ESA and ARE together calling for interesting ideas, and the organizations that would like to be in touch with us, please do so, and we will have and we can create cooperation. I would like to read the interest that we have, and in addition to that, we could also come up with some ideas, and we will see how we can cater to that. That's it. And without further ado, I would the pleasure to welcome our panelists for their intervention, starting with Mr. Harry Demetriou. The floor is all yours for the minutes, and you complete your presentation by that. I'm very strict with the time.
Hello. Very happy to be here today. It's great to speak to you all. My name is Harry Demetriou. I'm here on behalf of the DRE initiative, which is a not-for-profit that was created in March 2020, which is looking and has created a new identification of distributed renewable energy. And we have done so by creating a new mechanism called the DREC. So the DREC stands for Distributed Renewable Energy Certificates. For those that don't know, a renewable energy certificate is a very standard way in the modern world for corporations for corporations to offset their scope 2 emissions by purchasing renewable energy certificates from all around the world. However, as of today, 80% of renewable energy certificates that are purchased by corporations are in North America and Europe. Obviously, that makes it very difficult for corporate purchase renewable energy certificates. But at the DREC initiative, use technology to add a D on front of the renewable energy certificate to create the distributed renewable energy certificate, and for the first time, distributed renewable energy products into environmental markets. We've done so using a digital tool and created our own DREC platform. This platform takes generation data from distributed renewable energy assets of all sizes, ranging from solar home systems up to mini-grid and C&I installations. It aggregator puts into a DREC. This DREC, there's companies around the world and offset their emissions, but this provides an additional support to developers by providing them additional project views, and because of this, allows them to install more renewable energy projects on the ground, in the energy gap we see many parts of the world. Overall, the DREC initiative's aim is to use digital technology to provide additional revenue to distributed renewable energy providers, and from this, allow more renewable energy projects to go on the ground and to electrify more parts of the world than ever before. So, the next slide I was asked to summarise how DREC, its digital tool, addresses many of the challenges faced by DRE developers. The challenges I've highlighted are in the centre here, in the brown boxes. I'm sure many people will be familiar with these, so I won't go into too much depth. But the four challenges that the DREC addresses are uncertain project revenues, foreign exchange risks, aggregating small projects, and mobilising domestic lending. So, as I mentioned, DRECs aggregate renewable energy from small projects around the world and sell these as certificates to larger corporations who then offset their emissions. So, as you can imagine, many of these transactions are done in currencies such as euros and dollars. So, DRECs, by providing this currency, can help offset some of the foreign exchange risk by providing a stable supply of hard currencies. Through DRECs, to have long-term agreements purchasing renewable energy from distributed projects for over 5 years wherever possible, and for this, developers secure a long source of revenue, which of course helps projects and improve internal rates of return. The key point to notice here is how the DREC platform allows small projects to participate. Currently, renewable energy certificates is completely built up of utility scale size projects, so solar farms and wind farms. And what the DREC platform does, by automating the process and automating monitoring, reporting and verification of renewable energy, is actually allows small devices to connect to environmental markets, and because of this, receive additional revenue for the first time. Of course, additional revenue is never a bad thing for a project developer, and of course this can help actually mobilise further lending going forward and achieve the aim of the initiative to enable developers to put more on the ground, helping the energy poor communities around the world. I was asked to show some example impacts. So the DREC initiative is quite new. We've actually just completed our first transaction with a multinational corporation. I can't say who for the time being. So the impact is from our economic modelling, as you can see on the graphs here. We hope and we will have a big impact on project economics and ultimately the amount of renewable energy going on the ground through the DREC. So these graphs are quite complicated. The main thing I want you to look at is the green line. So on the left side, we can see the profitability of a DRE project actually increasing up to 5 points through a prepayment plan of DRECs. So DREC purchase payment comes up front. And on the right, you can see the levelized cost of energy, where again, DRECs are actually reducing the cost of energy for developers as well as end users, having the dual benefit of reducing the cost of energy as well as actually increasing the profitability. Just to briefly summarize, DREC is using digital tools and automation to plug in distributable energy devices, and from this, developers, multinational corporations, the energy poor communities around the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harry, for this very DREC initiatives to quantify and see what their goals are in terms of their certification idea. It does provide also a lot of benefits to the small property. Okay, then we will move to the next speaker, Ms. Aarti from EnAccess Foundation. And dear audience, please questions right afterwards, so hesitate to fire all your questions then. Aarti, the stage is all yours.
Morning, everyone. My name is Aarti. I hope I'm audible. Hi, everyone. My name is Aarti, and I'm representing EnAccess Foundation. It promotes and develops open innovation for access. So, what is open innovation, and what's the context of the discussion in terms of role in investing, de-risking the investments in DRE? But before we talk about what is open innovation, let's just understand why open innovation. I'm not going to get into too much of detail. I am aware that over here, the EnAccess practitioner as well as financial assessment and more, but I'll just take a half a minute to address why we think open innovation is. Yesterday, we all heard we need a lot more innovation approaches to address the funding gap that we have to deliver the energy access to the billions of people. The access companies are actually always hustling to match this year's funds between R&D development and operations. But instead of actually focusing their limited resources in understanding and deploying the efficient operations, companies end up spending half of their funds in the wheels, in the base technology that they to deliver these energy services, instead of actually investing those monies into the efficient in reaching more customers, delivering the quality services. So what does EnAccess do, and how are we trying to address this challenge? Again, this is not the only answer, but it should be a part of the equation or part of the solution, which is trying to deliver the energy access. We promote and support the development solutions as operation, which is needed by the energy access companies and asked by the energy access companies. I'll come back on this point when I say needed by the energy access companies through an example. Once these innovations are developed, then we shift our gears and actually focus on promoting and dissemination of these solutions to the sector so that they can be adopted by other companies that not only focus on promoting and developing, we also help in maintaining and updating these innovations so that they continue to be relevant to this promotion and the dissemination is by the local hubs and as well as accelerators in the different countries where working with them to actually promote this. I'm going to share one of our successes in terms of innovations and what it has done to the sector. We all know what paid for the energy sector. However, the way it was implemented, it led to a lot of variation and as well as inefficiencies and damage the manufacturer and as well as the last mile customers where they end up locking to one PayGo platform. So when which is one of the PayGo platform provider actually came to an open PayGo token solution, after the development of open PayGo token such as Pidgin and Gaza also to join and provide the support in their platform open PayGo token solution. The fun part. The solution which is actually developed by one company now being a domain other sector providing multiplier effect. Now other companies invest their specific funds in these solutions. So here you can see that a single invest is having the multiplier effect. In my last one was what digitalization can do, and especially if that digitalization is done as an open innovation. We all understand that digitalization actually helps in one of the key benefits is remote and better monitoring. And as Harry actually presented, how some of those remote monitoring data that has been collected through the different companies is actually helping generate another source of revenue by selling direct credits to the corporates. But the same digital open innovation, it can actually provide some additional benefits. One, the fact that this innovation is already available, and if it's adopted in its current form, it will have a very low cost of adoption, as the last example. But when some companies actually have to adapt some of these innovation to their context, it will be a faster and shorter development cycle. Those have to go through the same design from the scratch to develop this, the very fact that the solution already exists. And now, the fact that this solution already exists, the companies do not have to invest in the lengthy testing rounds as one would do in a development of solution when it's developed from the scratch. So these are some of the benefits that I just want to list when solution is actually developed as an operation. And I'll wait for some more questions on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aarti, for this. And definitely, I think open source innovation can unlock many doors for the local tribe, local context. Next, interviews from Road to make the interventions. Audience, please be prepared with your questions. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for New Sun Road. Just to make sure that people are sort of hanging with me, I'd like to just see a show of hands of how many people have heard of New Sun Road. Okay, great. That's even more than I had thought. I'm really super excited to be here, and it's great that we can finally be in person. I know everybody's a little bit exhausted because we're not used to all of the face-to-face stimulation and seeing people in 3D, but it's super to have everyone here. So I'm going to start with a video because this will explain things much better than I can.
To a better future is helping build it. Accelerating life before wireless connectivity that improve the quality of life in underserved areas around the globe. To make places more powerful. To make people more powerful. It's more powerful. And now our technology helping companies make their distributed energy fleets resilient and powerful. How do we make it powerful? Our solar platform lets you deploy microgrids, bring free, affordable, and reliable power and wireless connectivity to remote locations for online monitoring, telemedicine, and communication. Our microgrid OS is the heart of our system. It lets you monitor and manage energy usage with IoT control. Next is smart device. Put your in your hands. For IS, all our technology right in places to bring power connectivity to your location. Whether you're monitoring the microgrid or wind, what is your time and money? Helps you the most of your energy and more microgrid. Goes beyond creating economic opportunities to communities around the globe. Because the road to power is the road to powerful.
Great. So, I can overview. It is very concise. I want to bring up a couple of additional benefit corporation, which is different than in the US an S Corp, where the sole focus is your financial responsibility to your shareholders. This means that we also have an impact imperative, and we have a social responsibility that's built into our bylaws. So it's not just about what we're delivering financially, but also making sure that the products and the services that we're providing are helping our partners. We use IoT technology, so you saw the gateway that we have. We're technology agnostic, meaning we can connect to any smart device that's out there, pulling the data in, collecting it, saving it, pushing it to the cloud, and then having it be accessible wherever anybody is. How that data is presented, because we're all drowning in data these days, how do you take that data and turn it into actionable information so that it drives meaningful decisions around whatever business imperative you're going to use that data for, is what's really important and what really brings power to digital. Oops, the wrong way here. So how do we de-risk investments? We do it in a multiple of ways. We provide a portfolio view so that you can look at multiple sites on one platform. You can compare results. You can look at best practices. You can collect KPIs. You can drill down into the site and see what's happening at the level. We also do the core packages, see what's smart meter. You can also get high-level data for some of the things as pay-as-you-go. It's really connecting the different pieces of the platform and a seamless opportunity to use automated notions, and we use AI and machine will take systems to have a genset which are using gain or diesel, and you want to minimize the use of that genset and the fuel as much as possible. And the way you do that is by having forecast information come weather, so you understand what's happening with your solar potential, and also bringing in load estimates. What you can do is you can battery so that there's sufficient room to absorb so it's going to be prepared that day. Otherwise, what happens is the battery is fully charged. If you have too much solar, it ends up getting wasted, the solar is curtailed, and you've actually used more fuel than you anticipated. And then generating analysis and reports. This is what is going to allow us to do things better, allow us to be efficient, and also drives the insight management that you're looking at from a financial perspective. Keep pushing the wrong button. Okay. And to just look at some examples, there's some threads that I've seen, conversations that have happened here. One of the interesting things is our first project in 2013. We're now monitoring over 600 systems in the world. Most of them are about in Latin America and a third in the US. We also have programs there, and microgrids are proving a resilient solution, particularly in the water areas in the part of the United States. People who are at the end of the distribution lines are being shut off because of power safety outage, they call them. They are not given much warning. They're not given any time for how long outages will be. And example from University, their power was shut off for 4 days last week. They had to cancel the first day of summer classes, and so power and energy resilience is a problem everywhere. We also support power gen here in Africa. They're monitoring about 120 microgrids using our system. We also have a small integrated system. These are supporting digital community centers in Guatemala. We have a very strong partnership with Microsoft. And this is intersectionality between power and actually having extended impact. So the drivers behind that project is to provide internet access, digital skills, and we're working with USAID and Mercy Corps to put together women's leadership committees, and the women are running these centers from an entrepreneurial perspective. So here is where energy access is providing sort of some fundamental advantages to these remote communities. And then we also are monitoring and managing telecommunications towers, which also are basic rural tiny microgrids in very remote locations. So I look forward to your questions, and I look forward to hearing your perspectives, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Adrienne, for your presentation and also specifically pointing out how you deal with risk in investments. Okay, then without further ado, let us move on to the last speaker, but not the least, Mr. Remco from Stappershoef, who present mobile power and equities. Remco's floor is yours.
I can actually pronounce my last name again. So I'm very happy to be as like potential member, and great to see the faces. So also good to be there. And I can correct to the slides. So we see a quite interesting kind of diverse panel. Associations to open source to also systems. We are actually an organization. We are an innovative organization that we bring smart battery rental systems to the last mile. So when we talk about impact, we drive it to reach the last mile. And our product is smart batteries, a rental system. Where we've been established in 2013, we've been kind of commercial viable since 2017, or we did our testing on it. In the last 5 years, we've been renting out in 7 countries. And last week, we reached our 5 million transaction, and I'm very excited about that. But I've made the fact that last month, 100,000 rentals. So we did 10% of rentals in the last month. So see a very, we are growing 50% per month. We are based in Africa because most of our agents and people and staff are in Africa. We do have an R&D at Sheffield, partnering with Sheffield University, which is a technology. So we have battery rental 24 hours. We have 50 battery. That's our flagship product, which caters for the needs of our customers. Because our customers, just to remind you, in the last mile, are customers that every day decide to make decisions on what there's a little money. Maybe the washing powder for 10 milliliter, they have to pay some money, but cannot afford the big 1 liter bottle. And the energy needs, they don't have air conditions. They need to make that choice. So that is our customers. Actually now, thanks to Digitalisation and our smart technology to run that profitably. We're also working on next battery. That's an R&D process on generator replacements in electric motorbikes. So to actually go through an example on the ground, how it works, we have a video. Let's see it. I hope to give some rhythm. I don't have to do it anymore. So what excites me actually is we didn't make this song. This song was made in the community. They got so excited about mobile power that they created. So when we first heard it, but the effects that we have with our products, we can drive that impact. The action is with innovation on hardware, software, and business model, and the digitalization is actually cross-cutting. Smart batteries, smart cars. It's we have. You can see here. This one is it working? Oh, no, I have to do like this. Here, managing deadlines and portal rates data. I can see where. Which batch and which location it is it charged? Is it in the charging unit? Is it already full charge? So they have now over 500 agents, and they are running this mobile hub. It's like 4 agents running it automatic. We can actually reduce our OPEX and our overhead to very low levels. And they can work with those apps, and they can work with the customers, and we can actually monitor them from a distance. So the don't deal with the agents deal with their customer. So when we talk about mobile money, we mean our agents. The agents can have cash transactions with their customers. So the customers don't need mobile money. And those risks because the agent increase before he or she rents out. So we use station in the fields, also on managing on payments setting up. So I think that was it. Did I do it?
Thank you so much for your impeccable time management, of course, Remco, and for the nice song. I was almost starting to stand up and dance. I hope the audience. Okay, dear audience, please be prepared. Without further ado, we will open the floor for questions. Then let's have the icebreaker. Who from you would like to ask the first question? Let's see. And someone needs to ask the guy side. There you go. Do we have an usher? Okay. Yeah, we'll take that. Welcome to you.
Thank you. My name is Ridley Makaliki from South Namibia. I just wanted to find out, since the theme about digitalization, and we've seen that the areas that lack access are mostly rural areas where there's no network in terms of mobile networks. How do you go around this by the additional facilities in terms of providing networks to these areas before you're going to give them access to these modern energy service?
So can you also say who you're asking this question to?
Ideally, I think it should be relevant because it's about digitalization, yes.
All right, so who would like to take it? No?
Yes. Kick off mobile. You can see how hub needs to be placed in an area where there is a network. Our agent can actually top up mobile money, but our customers need to have access to a telephone or a mobile money network. They can be much more rural, We can see it on the video. We normally can, within the square areas of the people outside the hub would not have any access to any network. That is for us not a problem. At the same time, of course, there are areas where we would not go with the hub because there is a network, and that's where we actually really are partnering with telecom operators and towers to see if we can actually jointly put in. They put in the tower in a new area, and we put in the mobile hub to also enable them to provide end services customers to charge their phones.
So with our systems, it's a similar arrangement because we're pushing data into the cloud. It is critical that we have to get it. And so applications providers, and we've had a lot of experience, which is one of the reasons why digital community centers are combined with Grid Energy for Center, why we're doing stuff with communities. We're really close linked, trying to minimize a lot of work, but as we do these developments, the impact is just that community, and it's really important. So we get to my grid, we are in our system. We also are supporting making sure a reliable connection.
Just to add on what just explained, access is one which is relying and mostly support the biosolutions, and I'm especially to the example, I think happy to say, in fact, what companies that we have that the team is actually we supported them under loud petition with a bill now this solution is available for it is for company to have solution by having now own limited money in the R&D. I think that's the answer to your question. I hope
Yeah, not too much from my side. Need the data, so the DRE initiative relies on generation data to quantify that and certify that and to put that into a certificate. So to do that, you do need data, but we recognise that isn't always the easiest thing. So we do work with developers and try and support them to figure out the easiest way to do that. Like Aarti mentioned, there's always innovation going on, and it's great to see that that is becoming easier. But for the timing, we actually do allow an old-fashioned manual upload where you go read a meter, record what that says, and upload that to the DREC platform. So ultimately, digitalization does provide a tool that allows the DREC initiative to work, but we recognize in all parts of the world that's not really possible. So there are workarounds, but as Aarti said, the innovation is really exciting in this regard, and hopefully will allow more digitalization and the further benefits that can bring.
Thank you so much. Thank you, dear sir, for asking this question, which was very valid. I see your hand, but before you, I have a question to take from the gentleman. I'll come back.
My name is Victor Kitange from the Commonwealth Secretariat. My question is to Eric. One of the questions about creating this bright market environment is whether the assets risk profiles over their life is that a challenge?
It's actually on there, like I said, recognition, not for profit, and ultimately we're trying to drive progress against SDG 7. So what we want to do is basically encourage the highest impact projects possible. That varies from climate to social impact. The lower end will have a lower price of impact. There'll be a lower price. Higher end will be a higher difference. In terms of what the difference does is data from statistics. So what it does is allow the smallest devices to participate. So the variation in price in that regard is because is as the recognitive and reliable participants who actually are going out and selling certificates, is they will go out, speak to various developers, ascertain a realistic price for those certificates given the types of projects, and from that put together a portfolio. So there'll be a one-to-one approach, despite the aggregation of data, to contracts per developer in regard to their specific projects and the attributes of those projects, and paying ultimately what it should be worth in the market and how corporates will value those particular project attributes. Hopefully that makes sense.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Can I ask one more follow-up question? Not the follow-up, it's a question about the fact that you are dealing with digital technology. The question about cybersecurity has not been discussed. Is that an issue? Because it hasn't been mentioned.
Yeah, cybersecurity is definitely a huge concern, and we've had a lot of reviews and programs and putting in security measures and so forth to meet the standards of the established utility infrastructure in the United States. So that we're running through our cases, but by also working very closely with experts in the industry like Microsoft and take advantage. There are other ways to make sure that you are securing the cybersecurity, and this is an evolving space. So it's not just making sure that the security is continuing to upgrade, stay abreast practices, and make sure that you're working in that field. So yes, cybersecurity is an important focus on one of the things that we do because of all of that data that's going up there and having utilities be so important.
And as you said, that this is an evolving area. We are continuously learning, and the very fact that the technologies are open innovation, the best of the minds are actually working together all the time, continuously updating. The cost that one needs to invest in bringing the best in the mind comes a lot lower when it's an open innovation. And that's why I think the role of open innovation in driving some of these bigger challenges has a lot to play, and something that we all need to look into it. Company, imagine if only New Sun Road actually has all their resources in ensuring cybersecurity, how much will actually it impact? But versus when that innovation is an open innovation, usually, I think in software world, it's a well-established phenomena and a concept, but it is the understanding of open innovation is something that we are trying to bring in, and we want others to actually want to bring more people into this, can actually unlock a lot of the big potential that open innovation can bring to the sector, right? And I'm sure Harry can actually speak about how open innovation is helping them.
Yeah, of course. So open innovation has been really key to the DREC initiative. We've built the platform via open innovation through the Energy Web Foundation. They're building a decentralized blockchain that essentially allows smaller devices, again, to participate in environmental markets for the first time. So DREC is core is an open innovation. Our platform is open source, allowing verify anyone in the world. The platform again will increase public verifiability on any direct purchase. So ultimately, DREC is the product of open innovation, working with various to come together to hopefully, for the public good in terms of bridging the energy access gap by allowing devices that currently can't participate in environmental markets, hopefully so. Has really been essential to the development of the initiative so far, and hopefully the success that we'll be able to bring.
Thank you so much. Maybe since we are speaking about open innovation, Aarti, I have a question which might be also beneficial for the audience today. When imagining a teacher or a company with a lot of resources to develop a technology, how are they going to do it if they will just open
When we are not saying there is no role for closed innovations. Saying is that I think Android is the one big example of open innovation. It all started with the using technology and had there are different commercial it can use in one so it's a bleeding pig actually came out because they created a parallel of is open, and we try to make sure that all communication is best to its ability, that the companies can actually get out of how the hypothesis that we follow is that it should be able a junior engineer should be able to actually replicate in his own. However, in spite of that, we have noticed most often the local companies to whom we are really trying to bring this technology forward is unable to adopt by themselves. So they will often go back to the contributor or the developer, and that's why where these companies were actually either end up having a bit of a consulting stream to help these companies, the potential adopters, to actually use that. So that's a one. You can actually almost have a parallel consulting stream where you're actually helping companies to adopt that. When we talk about the innovation, realize that an innovation has to be constantly updated, right? So there needs to be investment which keeps on going. There has been a lot of innovative revenue models which have been put in place where companies will develop the base innovation, and anything which is added on is being monetized, something called premium service. What we ensure that the base innovation is available for everyone to replicate in the business. So there are lots of commercial models which can put it in place. I'm happy to discuss anything, but purely just being by open innovation doesn't mean that it actually takes away your revenue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We can take a question from audience. My colleague from Okra. Gentlemen, I'll come to you after the question. She has raised hand first. I'll come to you right away.
Hi, my name is Kisa. I'm from Okra Solar. So I have a question for New Sun Road and Mopo. This might not be relevant, but
to innovate on reducing the costs. We are more focused on driving more rentals to more countries, more hubs, because we are operating already on a profitable way. So we're more thinking about the growth trajectories than actually cost for the cutting trajectory. So it's a vague answer, sorry. But, I can actually look it up offline and see if it's a challenge. I can share some experience on that one.
And I would say our architecture mirrors a similar answer where we're aggregating the data, pulling it from a bunch of sources on site that's being pushed up to the cloud in one data stream. And then if there's other APIs, then we're pulling that in as well. So it's a relatively finite number of sources, and because the points are allocated or aggregated locally and then put up. But we can talk about this more offline as well.
Thank you.
I think, I'm not sure we have a complete answer, but I think one of the companies, Simu Solar, which is a Tanzanian-based company, is actually trying to address this thing where they've actually developed an additionality of a Bluetooth into their devices, where the data is actually communicated through the Bluetooth, addressing the very problem that you said. In currently, each device has about, $50 versus of that SIM, and on top of that, in which a distributor actually has to spend about $2 per month of a rental. So they are actually developing a solution which is using the Bluetooth, which is to really address that thing. So happy to engage on that introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we have the mic to the gentleman on the front, please?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Andreas. I'm from Swiss Solar in Mozambique. I actually have two questions. First to Harry from South Pole. The model, the way I understand it, you right now from various implementers to multinationals who are buying those certificates. Do you also scale this in future to P2P, let's say person to person or peer to peer, however we want to call it, that there is more interaction between actually people in the north to the people in the south and west and east? Is this a plan for you to grow, or you want to just basically aggregate those and resell those certificates to multinationals and corporates? And then I would like to maybe talk afterwards also to our battery man to see if you can give me a rough ballpoint figure. What is the minimum package for a franchise to start a project?
Thank you. Yeah, of course, I can answer the first question. So South Pole, for a bit of background, is an environmental services company. We operate all around the world. Our main business is carbon projects as well as renewable energy projects, and usually B2B type operations. So the short-term answer is that we're focusing on corporations at the DREC initiative. This is for two main reasons, I would say. The first of which is the volumes that we need to actually create change in the distributed renewable energy space are quite large, and because of that, the volumes they're operating at in terms of the amount of electricity they're using in their footprint is probably going to be more impactful in the short term if they conduct transactions versus, a household in North America or Europe. The second answer is there is development in this space, however. So I mentioned Energy Web Foundation. They worked with us to help produce a DREC platform, and they're actually producing a marketplace for distributed renewable energy where any in the world can log on and purchase renewable energy from all around the world. So the short-term answer is no. For the time being, we're focusing on corporations. At South Pole, one half of the DREC initiative, our main work is with corporations, so we're focusing on that to really first create a market. But going forward, there definitely is some possibility to work with innovations out there, such as Energy Web Foundation, where it would be an actual marketplace for renewable energy. You would log on, be able to see projects all over the world, and purchase renewable energy from any of them.
Thank you. Well, Andreas, thank you for the question, and I'm happy that you're maybe teased already by maybe becoming a franchisee. We're actually looking for strategic partners. We have a very bold ambition. We have a couple of hubs running with 300 batteries each. We want to go to 1,000 hubs we are building our B2C kind of to new countries. We also we are scale based. We cannot just go and build infrastructures in looking to see structure so forward to that. To 10 hubs, going to 100 hubs. All the money, I think we should have that. It depends a little bit. The pricing up now, fluidity in the markets. At the same time, if you are yourself a solar company sourcing your own solar solutions, or you don't have it, we partner also with mini grids, so they have already the energy. So it's a different model. It's about the imports, duties, etc. So there's a lot of elements and variables that is involved in it. But I'm happy to take that offline, and welcome everybody who's interested to reach out to me and to talk. Yes.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience? I see a gentleman behind, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Douglas. I work with World Resources Institute, and we are really advocates for open solutions. We actually do have a geospatial platform you can use to analyze demand and supply of energy on a map and visualize areas which have demand but no supply. So I think my question is on the MOPO solution. How do you charge the batteries? Do you use solar? Because I'm assuming you're working in underserved areas. And how do you track, say, for example, the customers? How do you make sure that they don't run away with this sort of solutions here?
Well, good question. Thank you, Rod. Our standalone hubs are charged by solar, right? So we have, but they could be also plugged into the hubs. The charging units can also be plugged into a socket system. We have also partners like mini grids where they immediately connected to the grid, to the mini grid. So different, but our standard power generation is with the solar panels. So, well, why are customers not running away? Well, first of all, they love it. They can only charge it at our hubs. It's like the printer and the ink, right? So they can take it away, but they cannot recharge it anymore. And we work. Often I say, well, I mentioned that already. We are actually an African company, although the R&D headquarters is in Sheffield. We work with agents who know their customers, right? Our agents, our teams in the field are critical to us. So they will customers and they know where they live. And we have also, if people are late, we have in our model a late payment scheme. So there's a lot of incentive for the customers just to bring it back. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We still have the time to take one last question from the audience. I have one question. Running a little bit overboard, and you have to go for coffee break. I know there are audience. Okay, there you go. So you first, you want to know. So you already had to kindly engage during the coffee break and allow him to ask the question. So please.
My name is Remco from Renewable Energy, and one question to Harry. I assume your system is based on carbon credits in Excel. So if you log onto your system, what's the price per unit you can offer? Either BCUs or CRs, I would assume.
Sure. So one thing to clarify is DRE based upon in the environmental market, there's two types typically. One is carbon credits and one is renewable energy certificates, and actually quite different. So carbon credits, as you probably could tell by the name, they certify the carbon saving from a renewable energy project So think of a mini grid, maybe it's offsetting a diesel generator. What carbon credits do is certify the carbon saved. Renewable energy certificates are a bit different. All they're doing is certifying that a certain amount in kilowatt hours or megawatt hours of renewable energy has been produced. And because of that, we think DREX actually has an advantage over carbon credits, because to calculate carbon credits, it's actually quite a lot of work. So, for example, you go to a village, as I've said, you've installed a mini grid, but to understand the carbon saved, you need to first understand what was there in the first place, what's being offset, how often is that diesel generator being used, where does the fuel come from, and so on. So you get into a whole can of worms to try and figure out how much carbon is being saved to actually certify a credit. And that process is very expensive. With renewable energy certificates, and particularly the DREC initiative, all we're doing is tracking the renewable energy that's produced. With that, using the Internet of Things and many processes we talked about, and certify that that renewable energy is produced. There's no comparison, there's no need to calculate, there's no need to go to a site visit and see what's actually in place. All we're doing is certifying renewable energy. So hopefully that answers the first part of your question. In terms of prices, as I've said, that will vary depending upon the project type. So we've commercially launched this year. As I've said, we're in the newer phase. As I've mentioned, the lower impact projects, so think of typically CNI, so maybe installations on factories or timber installations and so on, they'll be at the lower end. We're typically right now looking at a range for those projects around 10 to 15 US dollars per megawatt hour. And then for the higher impact projects, we're actually reaching up to 30 US dollars per megawatt hour. Just a bit of background how we got to that figure. There's various other RECs available. One is called the Peace REC. It's a very specific REC that is only for refugee camps and displaced communities. We've seen transactions from these PRECs of up to 50 US dollars per megawatt hour produced. So the prices are high, and to be frank, they're actually quite a lot higher than many carbon credits after you consider the cost of actually getting there. But these are based off actual transactions. So the prices we're aiming for are realistic and basically need to be that high to actually cause the impact we want, which is to allow IRR developers can get installations on the ground and we can address the energy gap. Hopefully that answered your question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. I would request you to please have a discussion right away. Okay, then I will have a last wrap-up question to all the panelists. Dear panelists, dear audience, it is at the helm of affairs that direct matchmaking support is very important for ARE, which is the reason why this wrap-up question is related to that. So, dear panelists, one by one you can take the question, and I would request you to keep it short and crisp. How can the participants in the audience collaborate with you? What key partners are you looking for?
Maybe I can first work down. So very quickly, the DREC initiative works off three main bodies. You've got the developer at the end who has the projects. You have the market participants in the middle who act like a broker between the developer and the third party, which are the corporations buying certificates. So South Pole, who is one half of the DREC initiative, we're going to be one of the various middlemen in the middle. So what we're looking for in terms of collaboration is either side. So we're looking for corporations who are interested to engage with the DREC initiative and potentially purchase DRECs. Also, secondly, we're working with developers and looking to collaborate with developers with change communities who have the digital capability to monetize their projects and ultimately allow DRECs to be issued.
Thank you. Aarti?
Thanks, Harry. Well, if you're a private company, an EnAccess practitioner, then please go to our website, enaccess.org, and submit your idea. If you're a donor, let's have a chat after this event with the coffee. And secondly, to your question on what are the key partners that we can engage with, well, we are looking for a sector-focused organization with whom we can actually work to promote open innovation. And then lastly, I want to say is that I think, especially to the donors, open innovation should be part of every donor-funded program, especially if these donors are spending the public money. What is the better way to get a maximum mileage and returns for the public money versus, when most of these innovations are going in a purely closed innovation form. And if you're an investor, please do share it with your portfolio companies and you think that it is actually beneficial to them. We're happy to engage and help them in the adoption.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adrienne?
Yeah, I think there's three specific areas. Certainly in the area of investment, investing in technology innovation companies, allowing us to do more. I mean, we've talked about the profitability and having a robust business model, but if we want to have the impact and the growth and take advantage of the opportunity to challenge the investment is going to be incredibly important to scale at the rate that we want to. So investing in companies and in projects. Second area is, of course, people who are putting in microgrids, partnering with utilities and people who are going to be using the data and digitalization to bring energy and have the impact that we're looking to recognize. And then the third one is partnering on innovation. This is an ecosystem. There's been some discussion already about how we've done some projects and they haven't gone very well, which has created some trust issues. And we as an industry have a responsibility to work together to make sure that the integrity and the delivery of social human needs as well as the technical needs. And we can only do that by partnering together and building a robust marketplace that people understand and feel comfortable with. So those are the three areas.
Thank you. Remco?
Yes, well, I think I kind of answered that already with the question from Andreas, but we do look at partners who are interested to invest in as a franchisee or in an asset co kind of construction. We have a proven business model. We operate profitably. We don't need subsidies to operate profitably. We do get from analysts and other donors a lot of funds on our R&D, so really appreciated it. But the operations, we are actually commercial viable, and we have been able to, because we actually do want to actually answer another question which was not asked, but which I had to prepare, is that we have not developed the technology and then tried to fit it. We looked at the needs of the community, and our community needs sometimes energy. They don't want credit checks, deposit, and stuff like that. And we developed the technology to cater for that need. That's the same, and digitalization was an enabler to make it, to streamline it, to make it more cost effectively. But so we are having a proven business model. We welcome others to help us scale up. We are scaling up. We have our Series Bs coming up as well. So if there's any investor who is kind of interested in equity investing, we will have a teaser next month. But I am really interested in going much quicker than we actually plan to do it as our own organization. We want to reach the 10,000 hubs by 2030, and I look forward to get franchisee or asset corporations. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear panelists, for your insightful intervention and for showing the audience and the virtual audience as well the technology and the initiatives that you have. I would like to use the stage of EAIF to also encourage the investors and financiers all around there that the decentralized renewable energy is not insecure. It's as safe as anything, and we have the live proof here in terms of the initiatives, in terms of open innovation.